Welcome back, students. As you know, we are doing the topic direct and inverse proportion. I have already told you about direct proportion and inverse proportion, and we did few examples on direct proportion and inverse proportion. Today, I'll give you few mixed questions in which you have to decide whether we have to apply direct proportion or we have to apply inverse proportion. So we'll start with today's first question, and the question is, a batch of bottles were packed in 25 boxes with 12 bottles in each box. If the same batch is packed using 20 bottles in each box, then how many boxes would be filled? Now see, here we are talking about the number of boxes and the number of bottles in each box. Now obviously, if a certain number of bottles has to be packed, and if you pack more bottles in one box, then there will be less number of boxes, and if you pack less number of bottles in a box, then there will be more boxes. So it's very clear that here the two quantities are in inverse proportion. Okay, so in today's questions you have to decide whether it is from inverse proportion or direct proportion. Now, as the number of bottles in each box and as the number of bottles in each box and that is X and number of boxes are in inverse proportion, so now you see, so they are in inverse proportion. So first of all, you make a table, number of bottles in each box and number of boxes. Now you see, initially 12 bottles in each box. So 12 will be here, and how many boxes are there? 25 boxes. Now 20 bottles in each box. So number of boxes you have to find, let it be VIII. So as I have already mentioned here that they are in inverse proportion. So 12 into 25 will be equal to 20 into VIII. So VIII is equal to 12 into 25 upon 20. Cancel it by 5. So 15 boxes is your answer. So you can see, as we have increased the number of bottles in each box, so the number of boxes has reduced. Now it is 15 boxes. Initially it was 25 boxes, but now it is 15 boxes. We need less number of boxes. Clear? Now move on to the next question. Next question is, a factory requires 42 machines to produce a given number of articles in 63 days. How many machines would be required to produce same number of articles in 54 days. Now you see, the number of articles produced are the same, it remains the same. So the two quantities that are there in this question are the number of machines and the number of days taken to complete the work. Now it's quite obvious that if you use more number of machines, the time taken to finish the work will be less, or in less number of days we can finish the work. And if we use more number of machines, the number of days will be less, and if you use less number of machines, then it will take more number of days. Clear? That means the two quantities here, they are in inverse proportion. So as the number of machines used and the number of days taken are in inverse proportion, so number of machines number of days okay. Now see, initially 42 machines were there and number of articles to produce a certain number of articles, 63 days were taken. Now number of machines you have to find if the work has to be completed in 54 days. So 54 here and you write x1 here. Now we have to find the number of machines used if the work has to be completed in 54 days. So as I told you that they are in inverse proportion, so 42 into 63 will be equal to x1 into 54. So x1 will be equal to 42 into 63 upon 54. X1 will be equal to 42 into 63 upon 54. So you cancel it by 9. 49 is your answer. That means if you want to complete the work in 54 days instead of 63 days, you should use 49 machines instead of 42 machines. Clear? So the answer is 49 machines. Now the next question. The question is, a car takes 2 hours to reach a destination by traveling at the speed of 60 km per hour. How long will it take? How long will it take? How long will it take when the car travels at a speed of 80 km per hour. Now see, here the two quantities are the speed of the car and the time taken. Now, you know, if a car travels with more speed, then less time will be taken to cover a certain distance. And if the car moves with a less speed, then more time will be taken to cover the same distance. That means the two quantities here, they are again in inverse proportion. So as the speed of the car and the time taken to cover a certain distance are in inverse proportion. So are in inverse proportion. So make a table. Speed, time taken, now initially the speed was 60 km per hour and the time taken was 2 hours. Then the speed becomes 80 km per hour, and then what would be the time taken? Let it be y1. Now as I told you, they are in inverse proportion. 60 into 2 will be equal to 80 into y1. y1 is equal to 60 into 2 upon 80. Okay. So the answer is 1.5 hours. The time taken by the car to cover the same distance will be 1.5 hours instead of 2 hours, because we have increased the speed Initially it was 60 km per hour and now it is 80 km per hour. So we have increased the speed, so the time taken is less. Clear? Now the next question. Next question. A loaded truck travels 14 kilometers in 25 minutes if the speed remains the same how far can it travel in 5 hours? How far can it travel in 5 hours? Now see, in this particular question, the speed is fixed. So the two quantities that are in consideration are the time taken and the distance covered. Now obviously any vehicle, if it moves with the constant speed, more time it will cover more distance, less time it will cover less distance. That means the two quantities here, they are in direct proportion. So in your examination also, by reading the question, you have to decide whether here the two quantities are in direct proportion or they are in inverse proportion. So now we will write as the time taken and the distance covered are in direct proportion. So once again you make the table. Time taken, distance covered. So you see, the time taken was initially 25 minutes. 25 minutes. And the distance covered was 14 kilometers. Now, the time taken is 5 hours. But as this is in minutes, so we will write that time also in minutes. So you know that in 1 hour we have 60 minutes, 5 hours, 5 into 60, that is 300 minutes. So you write 300 minutes here and let it be y1. That will be the distance in kilometers. Now as I told you that these two quantities x and y, they are in direct proportion. So 25 by 14 is equal to 300 upon y1. I told you when two quantities are in direct proportion, then x1 upon y1 is equal to x2 upon y2. When two quantities are in inverse proportion, then x1 into y1 is equal to x2 into y2. Here 25 into y1 is equal to 300 into 14, cross multiplying. So y1 is equal to 300 into 14 upon 25, cancel it by 5, again by 5. So 12 into 14, 168 kilometer is the answer. The truck will cover a distance of 168 kilometers in 5 hours. Clear? Now the next question. Next question is, two persons can fit a new window in a house in 3 days. Now the first part of the question, one of the persons fell ill before the work started. Before the work started. How long would the job take now? Because now only one person is working on it. Okay. So how long would the job take now? And the second part, how many persons would be needed to fit the window in 1 day. So now here the two quantities are the number of persons working to fit the window and the number of days taken to complete the work. Now you know, if more number of persons are working to fit the window, it will be done in less number of days, and if less number of people are doing the work, it will take more number of days. Means the two quantities here are in inverse proportion. Okay, so as number of persons working and number of days taken are in inverse proportion, so now you make a table. Number of persons now number of days. Now see, initially 2 persons and they were taking 3 days. Now in the first part of the question only 1 person is left, so you have to find the number of days taken. And in the second part of the question, we have to complete the work in 1 day, so how many persons are needed? So you write down x2 for that. Now as I have already explained that they are inverse proportion, so we can write 2 into 3 is equal to 1 into y1 is equal to x2 into 1. This into this is equal to this into this is equal to this into this. 2 into 3 is equal to 1 into y1 is equal to x2 into 1. Now 1 into y1 will be y1 only, so y1 is equal to 2 into 3 6. y1 is equal to 6 means 6 days. When one person is when one of the persons fell ill, then the remaining person will complete the work in 6 days. And then x2, here see x2 into 1 is x2, so x2 is equal to 2 into 3, that is again 6. So if you want to complete the work in 1 day, then we need 6 persons. So the answer to the second part will be 6 persons. Okay, the answer is 6 persons. Now the next question. And the next question is, Rashmi has a road map with a scale of 1 centimeter representing 18 kilometers. She drives on a road for 72 kilometers. What would be her distance? What would be her distance? What would be her distance covered on the map, in the map? Distance covered in the map. Now see, here the two quantities are distance covered on actual road and distance covered on the map. Now you know, if you cover more distance on the actual road, you will cover more distance on the map also. If you cover less distance on the actual road, you will cover less distance on the map also. Means these two quantities are in direct proportion. So as the distance covered on the road and the distance covered in the map are in direct proportion. So make a table. Distance covered on the road distance covered in the map now 1 centimeter on the map is equivalent to 18 kilometer on the actual road. So 18, you write down 18 kilometer here, and this is 1 centimeter. Now on the actual road she drives 72 kilometer. So you write down 72 kilometer here, and you write down y1 centimeter here. The answer will be in centimeters. And I have written that they are in direct proportion. So you will write 18 upon 1 is equal to 72 upon y1. Cross multiply. 18 into y1 is equal to 72 into 1 is 72 only. So y1 is equal to 72 upon 18, that is 4 centimeter. So your answer is 4 centimeter. So Rashmi covers 4 centimeter on the map. Clear? Now the next question. A school has 8 periods a day, each of 45 minutes. 45 minutes duration. How long would each period be if the school has 9 periods a day? The total time of the school remains the same time for the school. When there were 8 periods, each period was of 45 minutes. Now if there are 9 periods, then what would be the duration of each period? So the two quantities that we have to consider here are the number of periods and the duration of each period. So it is quite obvious, if you have more number of periods in that school time, so each period will be of shorter duration, and if you have less periods, then the periods will be of longer duration. Means when one quantity increases, the other decrease, and when one quantity decreases, the other increase. So they are in inverse proportion. As the number of periods and the duration of each period are in inverse proportion, so to make a table, number of periods x and duration y. Now initially there were 8 periods and the duration was of 45 minutes. Now how many periods are there? There are 9 periods now. So you have to find the duration. Clear? So as I have told you that they are in inverse proportion, so we will write 8 into 45 is equal to 9 into y1. That means y1 is equal to 8 into 45 upon 9. So it is 40 minutes. So the each period will be of 40 minutes. When the number of periods becomes 9 instead of 8, then the duration of each period will become 40 minutes instead of 45 minutes. Clear? So we have increased the number of periods and the duration of each period is reduced. Now the next question. Okay, the next question is a 5 meter 60 centimeter high vertical pole casts a shadow 3 meter 20 centimeter long. Find at the same time first part length of shadow cast by another pole 10 meter 50 centimeter high. Second part, height of a pole which casts a shadow 5 meter long. Now see, the two quantities that are in consideration here are the length of the pole and the length of the shadow. So obviously, higher the pole, longer will be the shadow. Shorter the pole, shorter will be the shadow. That means the length of the pole and the length of the shadow, they will be in direct proportion. So as the length of the pole and the length of the shadow are in direct proportion. So you make a table. Length of the pole length of the shadow. Now you see, initially they have given the height of the vertical pole is 5 meter 60 centimeter. You convert the entire thing in centimeters. So 5 meter means 500 centimeter plus 60, so 560. You write 560 here. And the length of the shadow is 3 meter 20 centimeter means 320. You write 320 here. Now the first part. The length of the other pole is 10 meter 50 centimeter. 10 meter means 1000 centimeter plus 50 centimeter, so 1050. And this you have to find. And then second part, height of the pole which casts a shadow of 5 meter long. 5 meter means 500 centimeter. So this is 500 and you have to find this x2. So when the length of the pole is 560, the length of the shadow is 320. Now the length of the pole is 1050, you have to find the length of the shadow, and you have to find the length of the pole when the length of the shadow is 500. As I have already explained that they are in direct proportion, so you write 560 upon 320 is equal to 1050 upon y1 is equal to x2 upon 500. So first of all, you equate first and the second, 0 can be cancelled. 56 upon 32 is equal to 1050 upon y1. Okay, you can cancel it by 8. Cross multiply. 7 y1 is equal to 4 into 1050. So y1 is equal to 4200 upon 7, 600 centimeters. So you can see we have found that the length of the shadow when the length of the pole is 10 meter and 50 centimeter will be 600 centimeter or 6 meter, you can say. You can say 6 meter. Okay. Now you equate the first and the third part. We'll do it here. Equate the first and the third part, means 56 upon 32 is equal to x2 upon 500. Once again, 4 into x2 is equal to 7 into 500. So x2 is equal to 3500 upon 4. Now when you divide, (875 centimeter) means 8 meter 75 centimeter. That is the length of the pole when the length of the shadow is 5 meter. So these are the answer to the two parts. So this finishes the examples for today. So I have given you a number of examples based on direct proportion and inverse proportion. I hope the topic is clear to you. So do all the sums given in the assignments. Thank you.